On October 22nd, 1994, two historically black colleges, Alcorn State and Georgia Southern, face off. And it's a national news game, despite it not being a Division I game, because Steve McNair, a Heisman hopeful, is about to break the record for the most yards in a college career, putting Alcorn State on the map and showing the greatness that was Steve McNair in college and beyond. Today we're going to dive into how good he was in college on Daily Sports History. Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide, as you daily learn more about sports history, increasing your sports knowledge. And today's trivia question is, what two college players beat out Steve McNair for the Heisman in 1994? So Steve McNair was born in Mount Olive, Mississippi, growing up with four other brothers who were all athletes, raised by their mother Lucille, and he showed greatness in his athletic ability as well, as he played football, baseball, basketball, track, but he really excelled in football, and not just at the quarterback position. See, he actually set the Missouri high school record for interceptions in a career at 30 and had 15 his senior year of high school and was getting recruited by almost all the major college football programs as a defensive back. He got offers from Miami, Notre Dame, Florida State, Florida, but none of them wanted him to play quarterback. They all wanted him to play defensive back. But when Alcorn State, who his brother had been a quarterback at in the 1980s, said, "We would love for you to come and be a quarterback here," he jumped at the opportunity. Now, Alcorn State is one of the HBCU universities, meaning it's a historically black college that started in 1921 and is part of the SWAC conference, which is the same conference of a previous episode where we covered Prairie View's losing streak. They were also in the SWAC. And interestingly enough, some of those losses came from Steve McNair. But they've always been a pretty good team. They've won 13 conference titles and have a winning record overall, including winning 5 black college national championships. But the last time they were in Division I AA or the FCS playoff was when Steve McNair was there. They've only been 3 times, and all of those times they've had a McNair on the team, one being his brother. Now, the moment he stepped on the field for the first practice, he showed the skills he had. He was a good runner. He was a good improviser. He could throw the ball all over the field with accuracy, all as a freshman. But they had a starter already in place. But during their first game against Grambling University, coached by the legendary Ed Robinson, with a team down 12-7, McNair was put into the game. And this is where he took off and didn't look back. He completed 7 of 11 passes for 111 yards in that first half and finished the game with 3 touchdowns, leading them to victory in his very first game as a true freshman. In that first season, he would lead Alcorn State to a 7-2-1 record, giving them a SWAC championship, going 7-0 in the conference, and got them to the playoffs where they faced off against number 2, North Louisiana, in a losing effort. But that first season, he passed for over 2,800 yards and 24 touchdowns as a true freshman, as well as running for 240 yards and 6 touchdowns. And he continued to get better. His sophomore and junior season, he would pass for over 3,000 yards and 29 touchdowns his sophomore year and 22 touchdowns his junior year. Now, after his junior year, the NFL had actually put together a draft advisory board to assist college players to know where they should declare for the draft or stay in college, giving them an idea of where they would be drafted so that they could make an informed decision. It's a great opportunity. It's a great program. It was a great program for players to understand. So after his junior year, McNair was told he would be a first or second round pick, meaning he would almost definitely be on a roster, making hundreds of thousands of dollars at least, life-changing money for him and his family. But his mom said he needed to make the decision for him. No one else, not her, not his brothers, not the team, for him. But he decided that he wanted to finish out his career and see what would happen one more season. And it was a doozy of a season and ended up being one of the greatest college football seasons of all time. As in their first game of the year against Grambling State, he threw for over 534 yards with 5 touchdowns and added 99 yards on the ground. He ended with a total of 633 yards for the game, just 10 shy of the Division IIA record, which he would later beat during this season. And coming into the season, it was a long shot, but he had the chance to break the all-time record for the most passing yards by a quarterback, set by BYU's Ty Detmer in the 80s. And so on October 22nd, 1994, he only needed 264 yards to pass Ty Detmer. So everyone assumed this game was going to be the one he needed to break the record. And Alcorn State Stadium, about 21,000, and there was over 26,000 in attendance for this game, as he was going to make sure he got the record, and he blew it out of the water as he finished the game with 649 yards, a record for the most yards in a game, as well as giving him the record for the most yards passing for a career, all against Georgia Southern, who was ranked 22nd in Division I AA at the time, giving them the win. And he would continue his streak, and they would end up with a 8-2-1 record, heading into with a berth in the Division IIA playoffs, where they faced number 1 Youngstown State, led by Jim Trussell, where they would eventually lose. And the biggest problem with this team, why he didn't have the championships and everything that a lot of great college athletes do have, is because his team had no defense. He was scoring just for the chance of his team to win. The more they scored, the more chance they had to win, because their defense was not there. Maybe they could have used him on defense as well. But that season, he finished with 5,377 yards passing, with 47 touchdowns, and 900 yards and 9 touchdowns on the ground. Over 6,000 yards total for this season, which was a crazy amount back then. Just to give you an idea, the year before, Charlie Ward won the Heisman, another quarterback who was a dual threat. He passed for 3,000 yards and 27 touchdowns. And on Sports Illustrated's list for the greatest single college seasons of all time, Steve McNair is number 4, just behind Tim Tebow, Marcus Allen, and Barry Sanders. And to give you a little bit of a context, the most passing yards last season in college football was Michael Penix Jr., who passed for 4,900 yards. And he only had 36 touchdowns. And this was 30 years after. In today's game is very different than it was back then. So after this amazing season, local fans of Alcorn State were really trying to put together his highlight reel and make it a good thing. And he even appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated, making his case for the Heisman. And the cover of the Sports Illustrated said, "Give him the Heisman." As the Heisman can actually be given to any college player. It's just never gone to anyone else that wasn't part of the Division I or the FBS series, because they're the most popular series, they're the most popular teams, they're playing probably the better competition. But there have been a few instances where non-FBS players have gotten the chance to at least be in the conversation for the Heisman. In 1977, Doug Williams, who went on to win a Super Bowl, actually finished 4th in the Heisman voting at Grambling State, another HBCU location. And another HBCU alum, Jerry Rice, out of Mississippi Valley State, finished 9th in the Heisman voting. And in 1985, Joe Dudek from Plymouth State, a Division III school in New Hampshire, actually appeared on Sports Illustrated with Bo Jackson and Chuck Long as an option for the Heisman, and he was able to finish 9th. But McNair had one of the greatest seasons in college football history, and that really put him on the upper echelon and gave him a chance. But unfortunately, other people had great seasons. Rashaan Salam of Colorado rushed for over 2,000 yards, and at the time, the running back position was kind of the top position to win the award, and so he won the award, getting over 400 first-place votes. And the runner-up was Kajon Carter, who had over 1,500 yards and 23 touchdowns, and would end up being the number 1 pick in the 1995 draft. But Steve McNair ended up being the top quarterback in the voting for all of college, beating out Kerry Collins of Penn State and Jay Baker of Alabama and getting 111 first-place votes. Despite not winning that, he would win the Walter Payton Award, which is given out to the best player in Division I 2A, and finishing third in the Heisman was the highest an FCS or Division I AA player has ever finished, and no one has come close since. But it just goes to show you how great McNair's college career was. And he would go on to the NFL, being drafted 3rd overall by the Houston Oilers, who would go on to become the Tennessee Titans, where he would lead them to a Super Bowl and be voted MVP in 2003 and would have his number retired by the Tennessee Titans. He is a member of the College Football Hall of Fame and maybe has an outside chance to make the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But sadly, he will not get to enjoy this, as he was involved in July 2009 in a shooting that took his life. But we can always remember how good he was, not only in the NFL, how amazing he was in college, putting Alcorn State on the map and letting everyone know that HBCU universities still have great football. And if you want to learn more about HBCU football, check out HBCU Huddle, where hosts CJ and Mike take you what's going on around historical black college and all the sports involved and the great sports programs that they have, as they, to this day, still have great programs consistently producing players that make it to the NFL. And maybe one day we'll get another player as good as Steve McNair. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a rating or review wherever you're listening. And if you want, in your review, tell us a topic you would like us to cover, and we'll get that done just for you. And come back tomorrow for more daily sports history. And did you catch the answer to today's trivia question? What 2 players beat out Steve McNair for the Heisman in 1994? And the answer is Rashaan Salam, who won the award, and his runner-up was Kajan Carter.